You stop chasing toxic people when you stop needing others to validate your worth. That's the whole game. Right now, you're not chasing them because you love the drama. You're chasing them because their attention feels like proof you matter. A reply, a like, a small compliment buried inside disrespect. And every time they give it to you, even for a few seconds, your nervous system reacts like you've won something. Toxic people don't give you stability. They give you just enough validation to keep you attached, never enough to make you secure. Because the moment you feel secure, you stop chasing. And you can't stop chasing while your self-worth is still outsourced. Your worth feels like it's on loan. You have to borrow it from them, from their mood, their attention, their approval in that moment. And that's why toxic relationships feel so emotionally consuming. Because your emotional state starts depending on someone else's consistency. When they're warm, you feel valuable. When they pull away, you feel anxious. When they give attention, you feel relief. When they withdraw it, you start questioning yourself. And slowly, you stop experiencing the relationship as it is and start experiencing it through your need for validation. That's where the dependency forms, not from love, but from emotional reinforcement, because your brain begins to associate their attention with your worth. And once that happens, silence feels like rejection. Inconsistency feels like something you need to fix, and distance feels like something you must earn your way back from. But the truth is simple. You're not chasing them because they are valuable. You're chasing them because your self-worth still depends on being chosen by them. And that's the shift. The moment your worth stops being something you borrow from others, you stop needing people who only give it in fragments. Because you no longer negotiate your value in real time. You already know it. And when your worth is on loan, you'll tolerate almost anything just to keep that loan active. You'll reread their messages at 2 a.m. You'll overthink their tone. You'll shrink yourself to match their mood. And you'll call it trying to make it work. When in reality, you're just trying not to lose the feeling of being seen. That's why leaving feels so difficult. It's not always the person you're attached to. It's the emotional relief they sometimes give you, the attention, the validation, the temporary feeling of being enough again. When you stop needing that, their hot and cold behavior stops controlling your emotional state. A delayed reply doesn't shift your mood. A dry message doesn't trigger overthinking. A backhanded comment doesn't make you question your value. Because you're no longer interpreting their behavior as a reflection of your worth. You're just seeing it for what it is, behavior, not approval, not rejection, just information. And when that shift happens, something important disappears, the emotional gap they used to fill. Because that gap only exists when your self-worth is still outsourced. And it can't be filled by attention anymore, or reassurance, or inconsistency disguised as affection. It only gets filled one way, through evidence you build for yourself. Not from what they say, not from how they respond, not from how they treat you in a good moment, but from how you show up for yourself consistently, especially when it's inconvenient, especially when nobody is watching, especially when there is no external validation to carry you. That's where stability is built. Quietly, in the moments where you choose yourself without needing anyone to confirm it. And this is where the shift becomes practical, not emotional, not theoretical, but behavioral. Shift 1. Stop negotiating your value in real time. Every time you explain yourself too much, chase a response, or try to correct how someone sees you, you're reinforcing one belief, that your worth still needs approval. And the more you do it, the more your brain learns to outsource validation. But real self-worth doesn't argue. It doesn't defend itself. It doesn't need a closing statement. You don't owe anyone a performance to justify your value. Shift 2. Replace external feedback with your own scoreboard. Toxic dynamics keep you stuck by making someone else the judge of your progress. Did they reply? Did they approve? Did they change how they treated you today? That becomes your emotional scoreboard, but you can replace it with something quieter and stronger. Did I show up for myself today? Did I keep a promise I made to myself? Did I move closer to who I want to become, even slightly? Because that's the only score that compounds. Everything else is unstable. Shift 3. Get comfortable with being unseen. Most people stay trapped because silence feels like rejection. But growth rarely comes with attention. No one applauds you for not reacting. No one notices when you stop chasing closure. No one celebrates when you choose peace over proving a point. And that's exactly why it works. Because you're no longer performing for understanding. You're building discipline in private. And when you start living by your own scoreboard, their approval stops feeling necessary. It stops feeling like oxygen. It becomes optional. And anything optional is something you can finally walk away from. They send the vague text at 11 p.m. The kind that used to keep you typing, deleting, rewriting, overthinking every word for 20 minutes. But now something is different. You read it, you notice the pattern, and you feel nothing pulling you into it. Not because you've become cold, but because you're no longer emotionally dependent on it. You're not starving for validation anymore, so you don't rush to reply, not out of pride, not out of games, but out of irrelevance. It no longer defines your emotional state. Or they try the subtle test, a backhanded compliment. Didn't expect you to pull that off. And the old version of you would have felt that. Tried to prove something. Tried to earn respect retroactively. But the new version doesn't enter that loop anymore. There is no need to perform for an audience of one. You just think, I already know what I'm capable of. And that's where everything shifts. Because once you stop performing for validation, their behavior loses its leverage. The emotional hooks stop working. The inconsistency stops pulling you in. The attention stops controlling your state. And what remains is something unfamiliar at first. Quiet. Not the kind of quiet that feels empty, but the kind that feels stable. Because the chase was always the noise. And when you're no longer chasing, you finally notice something important. You were never attached to them. You were attached to what their attention did to your sense of self. And when that dependency disappears, there's nothing left for them to pull on anymore. Because in any system built on reaction, control belongs to the one who stops reacting. Think about it like this. You can't pull a rope if the other person lets go. Every message you don't send, every explanation you refuse to overgive, every reaction you don't feed back into the cycle, that's you letting go of the rope. And when you let go, something shifts immediately. They're no longer pulling you. They're pulling nothing, left holding their own effort, talking into silence, waiting for a response that never arrives. And that's not losing. That's opting out of a game that only worked because you kept participating in it. Power was never in the reply. It was always in restraint, in what you refused to engage with. And once you understand that deeply, silence stops feeling like emptiness, starts feeling like control, not over them, over yourself. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.